God, I'm fat. I'm so disgusting. How did I let my body get to this point? I look like a manatee. Ugh, I'm so gross. Has this ever happened to you? This video will contain content, including, but not limited to, frank discussions of disordered eating, including my personal experiences with anorexia, discussion of fat phobia and fat shaming, and an honestly mean-spirited portrayal of my inner monologue, saying things that may be too much for sensitive viewers. This one is rough, folks, like, for real. By now, many of you may have noticed that I'm what is known as a fatty boombalatti. I don't say this for reassurance. I don't need to hear you tell me you don't think I'm fat. It is a fact that I am. I'm not going to tell you my weight or my measurements or bullshit nonsense like my BMI, which is nothing, because that can be very triggering for people. And I don't want to normalize the culture of scrutinizing our bodies to try and measure their quality or whatever, because let's face it, that's what people are really doing with that type of shit. It's important that we're on the same page about this. I'm consciously using the word fat, which may strike some of you as rude or derisive. That's not my intent. I simply believe that it's the most appropriate word to use in these circumstances, because terms like overweight or obese medicalize fatness. What's worse, they imply that by being fat, one is straying from a normal, ideal body type. I will discuss that concept and why it is fucked up and wrong later in the video, but everybody that believes it has already stopped watching to leave a comment, so don't know even why I'm bringing it up. My point is, I'm not using the word to be insulting, and though it may be a word that hurts to hear sometimes, as far as I am able to tell, it is the least harmful word to use. This video is deeply personal for me and brought up a lot of bad feelings. It was not easy to make. So I'm just going to say up front that if you'd like to support this kind of whatever this is, check out my Patreon, patreon.com/thoughtslime, or take a look at my snazzy new t-shirts, union made by a workers' co-op with fair trade cotton. I'd like to start with a story. When I was about 10, my school did a charity lapathon. Can't remember what the cause was, but the idea was you'd ask adults to pledge a certain amount of money per lap you did around the school gymnasium. So you raise some money and get kids to exercise. Win-win, right? Our gym teacher was explaining this to us, and someone, I don't know who, might have been me, asked, Hey, Teach, do you have to run or can you walk? He gave a kind of wishy-washy answer because he said it was better that you run, but if you can't run, it was okay to walk, because the idea was people were paying you to run. You should run as much as you can. And I remember him looking right at me when he said, if you can't run. I remember feeling it was pointed, accusatory. Memories get distorted over time. I mean, what are the odds that this really happened? Wow, what an asshole. Although I agree with everything he said. But remember how he looked right at you and judged you? That must make you feel like a complete piece of shit. I was the fattest kid in my class. I didn't exercise. I didn't like sports. I was not well coordinated. I would often deliberately forget to bring a change of clothes for gym class, so that instead of being made to run around and exercise, I was forced to read books. Oh no, my favorite thing rather than my least favorite thing? Well, if you insist. So the day the lapathon comes, I remember being taken aside and told that I, specifically, did not have to run, that I shouldn't strain myself, that it was okay to walk if I wanted to. Now, I don't know if that actually happened, but I do remember it happening. And I remember the white-hot feeling in my cheeks. I remember the shame, anger, and most of all, I remember the determination to prove them wrong. So I ran the whole damn thing. I ran myself ragged without stopping, wheezing and gulping for air the whole time. And when it was done, I collapsed. I almost blacked out. I was breathing so hard that for the next few days, whenever I coughed, I could taste blood. I had to take a few days off of school to recover, but I did it. I proved them wrong. That's what I remember happening, anyway. But what probably actually happened is that I ran a few laps, not all of them, exhausted and injured myself, proving their point entirely, and further humiliating myself, but somehow convincing myself I had won some moral victory. I think I just needed a win, you know? Yeah, because otherwise, the disrespect you felt, maybe you deserved it a little. Everyone deserves respect. Oh, really? What about Hitler? Do you think Hitler deserved respect? Look at this guy, everybody. Thinks Hitler deserves respect. Bro, I don't think I should have to explain to you the difference between a 9-year-old boy and Hitler? Good, then you concede that some people don't deserve respect. Ipso fatso, he's fat. Ipso facto, but whatever. I have always struggled with my weight. And when I say that, I mean that I've struggled to accept my weight. Not to imply that being fat is something which one should struggle to overcome. I don't believe that. I live as though I believe it, but I don't believe it. It's against all of my principles. Wow, big fat hypocrite. Emphasis on fat. Nobody can control their intrusive thoughts. I know, it's great. Hey, Matt, or Mildred, or whatever you're calling yourself today, no one's ever gonna love you because you're ugly. In my teen years, through to my mid-20s, I became quite thin. It was really easy to do. All I had to do was walk a few hours a day, drink a lot of water, get plenty of sleep, and not eat anything unless someone was specifically watching me. I mean, I had to eat when people were watching because otherwise they'd get worried and force me to eat all of the time. So usually I would get 1 square meal a day. I remember one time my mom and her boyfriend at the time went out of town for a weekend, and all I ate the whole time was a few clementine oranges. I remember even telling people that story, and they reacted like, okay, weird, you should probably eat more than that. But nobody ever suggested that perhaps I was anorexic. I remember being so proud that I fit into extra small clothes. Sometimes I had to wear children's sizes. Had to. I wanted to. Because look at me. Look how thin I can get. I can fit into anything. I'm barely here. Your self-worth is not determined by the size of jeans you can fit in. That's good. Because now you wear, extra large? Do they even carry jeans wide enough for you at most stores? Don't answer that. I know the answer. You have to get special fat guy jeans. I never got treatment. I was never confronted by anyone. I just kind of stopped. Over time, bit by bit, I learned to eat again, but it never left the back of my mind that I shouldn't be doing that. That's the fucked up part, right? I know that the healthy thing to do is to eat normally, but I feel bad every time I do it. I've tried many times over the years to do things right, to track my calories and make sure I'm getting all of my mommy micros and those nasty little micros. And it always ends the same way, trying to get that number as low as possible, seeing, can I get by on 1,000 calories a day? 500? Can I burn off 1,000? 2,000? How big a calorie deficit can I create? And how can I make it bigger the next day? And then, of course, I fall off. I eat a big bag of chips or a pizza or what have you, and the thought of seeing a big number on the calorie tracker is just too much to bear. Doing the mental math of how many calories I've consumed and just how close to a pound of fat that might be starts to send me into a spiral, and I give up. I always give up because trying to lose weight requires keeping the fact that you're fat right now top of mind. Come on, that's not how it works. There's more to fitness training than calories in, calories out. You know that. Sure. The first law of thermodynamics means that you can't burn a calorie from nothing, but your body is more complicated than the arithmetic you can do in your head. Doing it this way puts a lot of stress on your body, releasing a shitload of hormones that tell it to cling to every ounce of fat and eat away at muscle until I'm weak, tired, fat, and dying. Probably I wouldn't even really create a calorie deficit. I would just subconsciously find ways to introduce more calories into my diet to compensate. So I might even gain fat while losing muscle. You'd think that'd make things easier, right? Knowing the thing I should actually do to achieve the goal I want is easier than what I'm doing now, that I don't need to starve myself or run until I can't feel my feet. You'd think that would be liberating. It would make my goals feel achievable. It would free up time. It would mean I could relax a little. All I have to do is make a small, maintainable change over time that might not lead to drastic weight loss, but will help me live a healthier, happier life. Two things which are not interchangeable, by the way. More on that later. But of course, it doesn't change anything. I don't starve myself or overexert myself because I think it will help me lose weight. By now, I know better than that. We have this cultural understanding that being fat is caused by a lack of self-control. But that's not really backed up by scientific evidence. It sure seems like something that would be true. Just eat healthy foods and exercise. Two things which anyone can do if they put their mind to it. Therefore, anyone who is fat just lacks the willpower to take those simple measures. That makes a certain intuitive sense. And most people don't think much past that. Here in reality, however, many of the causes of being fat are beyond the control of individual people. Even if we accept the idea that fat people should lose weight, which itself moralizes people's bodies in a way that I find pretty insulting and demeaning, people do not have control over their genetics, their economic status, their stress levels, what food and exercise options are even available to them. Maybe somebody's not exercising because they don't have time or they're depressed. Maybe someone's eating highly processed sugary foods because fresh fruit and vegetables are really fucking expensive. There's compelling evidence that everyone has a certain baseline weight that their body will always seek to return to. For most people, the idea of losing weight and sustaining that indefinitely may be absurdly difficult, verging on impossible if there are any other complicating factors like having to raise kids or having a disability or having a fucking job. So no, I don't do it to lose weight. That'd be nice, but I don't have the stomach for it. Are you sure? 'Cause you got a lot of stomach. Can't set me up like that, come on. And I certainly don't do it to be kind to myself or to make my life better or to live longer. By the way, exercise is what makes you live longer in that sentence, not losing weight. To be clear, those things are not synonymous, and you can be mad fat and still have a healthy cardiovascular system. And I definitely don't do it because I enjoy it. I truly hate it. I do it, I guess, to prove to myself, to the world, to God, who I don't even believe in, that I don't deserve to be fat. Because it wouldn't be enough for me to just lose weight. I've done that before, and I was just a fat person who was thin. I want to show everyone my discipline and resolve. I want to shut up every gym teacher I ever imagined judging me. I know being fat isn't a matter of personal responsibility. I know it's not wrong for me to be fat. That sure doesn't feel true. Yeah, all I'm hearing is a lot of excuses. What you're trying to do here is just accept yourself as you are instead of like improving yourself. Maybe you should read all of the comments
on this video.
No, do not do that. Do not do that. Actually, he's right. We should not do that. We should just imagine the types of things they might say. Listen to this fat little bitch whine. Why does he focus so much on his weight and not on his fucked up looking face? Hey, Thought Slime, I'm a longtime fat acceptance advocate, and I just want to say, you've really made us all look like fools. Now, people who want to discriminate against fat people can point at you, and actually, they make a pretty good point. I went 20 minutes into this video before I realized there wasn't going to be an after picture. I do want to be healthier. I do want to be stronger and have a healthier cardiovascular system. I want the mental health benefits of exercise. I want to live longer. Who wouldn't? And I do also desperately want to lose weight. I hate that I do, but it's the truth. There's a reason I film myself from the shoulders up, because if I had to look at my body every day, I'd have a nervous breakdown. I feel a profound revulsion every time I look in a mirror, every single time. I have an understanding with my wife that whenever she takes a photo of me, to never, ever let me see it. I can't stand looking at myself. I can't face it. Oh yeah? Imagine how everyone else feels. Am I right, folks? I don't agree, but that was a really solid burn. A few years ago, I got a physical at the doctor's office, and she told me that I don't have high cholesterol, but that I was close to having it. Just something to keep an eye on. And that was very concerning to me, because I'm vegan. Really should not be possible for me to have high cholesterol. That's how bad I fucked up. I can't lower my red meat consumption any lower than none, so I got on a bit of a health kick, by which I mean I became unhealthily obsessed with my health. I weighed myself for the first time in years, and don't worry, I won't say the number, but it was the same weight as Homer Simpson. I was as fat as Homer Simpson, the platonic ideal of an absurdly fat guy. Oh, bud, no, come on, that's not true. Homer Simpson's like 6 feet tall, and you're 5'9", even though you tell people you're 5'10". So really, you're much fatter than Homer Simpson. You're like that episode where Homer wanted to go on disability, so he gained a bunch of weight. That's you. In a lot of ways, this was good for me. I've actually lost and kept some weight off. You can tell if you go back and look at some of my old videos that my face isn't as round as it once was, though it's a bit hard to tell because there's a beard. Yeah, I'm sure they'll see that. I'm sure that's not something you're imagining. It doesn't matter. You're allowed to feel good about yourself. Are you, though? Because it seems to me like if people just feel good without actually accomplishing anything, then nobody's ever gonna do anything. And this time, This was the result of good decisions instead of just self-harm. I hardly ever drink anymore. I try to eat mostly whole foods. I even took up it's kind of a sport. I don't count calories because that would send me into the abyss. So I just kind of improved the quality of my food instead of trying to change the quantity. Now, I still eat garbage for fun. I still roll around in the gutter, as I think people should occasionally.
A little more than occasionally, but okay.
But I do it to enjoy it, rather than simply doing it thoughtlessly. There's no good or bad foods. There are just good and bad relationships to food. So I thought, finally, I'm developing a good relationship to food.
Well, I mean, you don't really know that, do you? Because you don't keep track. And you could just open up your phone. You've got chronometer on your phone.
Maybe log a couple of your meals.
No, don't do that. You know that's not good for you. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, but eating Gardein fake chicken tenders is good for you? It could be. Food is neither inherently good or bad. No food is.
Exercise, though, that one's tough. Because I'm so out of shape now that exercise is embarrassing. There's a lot of things I just can't do, and I don't really know when, if ever, I'll be able to do them. Historically speaking, I'll probably give up first. I certainly can't do a pull-up, and I can maybe do 1 or 2 push-ups, but with form so bad, I might as well not be doing them. I hate exercising. I hate how it feels. I can't stand the burning, throbbing rhythm of it. I'm simultaneously bored and excruciated, and I've never stuck with it long enough for it to get any easier, or does it even get easier? I genuinely don't know, because I guess I'm supposed to keep training harder as I get stronger, so wouldn't it stay exactly as hard forever? Am I going too hard, or am I not pushing myself hard enough to break through the walls in my way? Maybe it does get easier, but I'm not pushing myself over some hump I need to get past first. The only thing I like about it at all, the only thing that motivates me to do it whatsoever, is the numbers. I can watch myself go faster, go longer, farther. Sure, my lungs hurt, but if I go a little longer, I'll have gone longer than I did yesterday. And I'm not going to feel good if I just match yesterday. I have to make progress. I have to make it now. Essentially, I turn exercise into cookie clicker. And just like that, it's back. I want to drain my body of every last calorie. I want to push myself until I can't push any farther, and then push even harder than that the next day. I want the line to go up. I want the numbers to get bigger. I want to do what everyone else can do now. And I start to think how everyone would laugh at me if they saw these pitiful numbers and how hard I have to work to get them. So I have to build them up right now. I have to get faster. I have to get stronger. I have to get thinner.
No notes. Just that was good stuff. You're finally getting it. Hey, you can't get results overnight, and everyone has to start somewhere, and nobody's going to laugh at you. They're just going to be happy that you're finally taking care of yourself. I agree with you. People will pity him. That is not even remotely what I said. No, you're right. I agree with you on this. No one's going to laugh because they're going to be too bummed out by your pitiful, disgusting, pointless body. You're not really a comedy. You're more like a tragedy. Anyone see Joker? Anyone ever see that one?
Hey, by the way, right now I'm writing this script. Right now I'm performing it, but the script says right now I'm writing this script and I'm crying. Again, not crying right now, was crying when I was writing it. And I'm thinking about how badly I want to get on the treadmill and how hard I want to push myself. And maybe I could go faster than I have been going so that I'll feel like I deserve to talk about it here in this video. Because I'm not even running, really. I'm just walking fast enough to make it hard to breathe for hours at a time. Am I even exercising? I must be. My heart rate goes through the roof. I sweat so bad, I have to actually wring out my clothes and hang them to dry. Update, I did get on the treadmill, and I did Google how fast I should run, and it was way faster than I was going. So I did push myself even harder, so good job me. Probably not a good sign.
Yeah, you're just giving up too fast. That's the problem here. I mean, no pain, no gain. Ergo, the more pain you feel, the more gain you will receive. That's just math. The guide you were reading said not to push yourself, and you could barely stay upright at the speed you were going. Yeah, but the same guide also called that speed a light jog, so I don't know, maybe pick up the pace, fatso. And it also said that if you can run slower starting out, you should. Yeah, okay, sure, yeah. They gotta say that shit because they don't want to get sued. Obviously, it's better to run as fast as possible at all times. You know, I think if Batman were real... Oh my god, not the Batman shit again. Batman's not real. Batman's a cartoon character. Obviously, I know that. I'm not stupid. I'm smarter than you. I'm just saying. hypothetically, if Batman were real, do you think he'd give up?
When I was a kid, this was the body of a superhero. This body would take a fairly incredible amount of self-control to maintain, but most able-bodied guys could do it if they had unlimited time to work out and no budget restraints on their food. It'd be hard, ridiculously hard, verging on impossible, but you could do it, in theory. Nowadays, superheroes look like this. And this is not real. I don't mean that it's CG or photoshopped. I mean that no one can actually have a body that looks like this. These movie stars, with dietitians, trainers, and all sorts of specialists, can only achieve it through grueling work hours, absurdly strict and expensive diets, and movie trickery. They have to dehydrate themselves to get this kind of muscle definition on camera. And since their huge beef bods require such time-consuming upkeep, they tend to just shoot all the scenes where they need to look as jacked and stacked as possible towards the beginning of the movie, and then gradually get less beefy as shooting goes on, which is unnatural. You should be jacked and stacked, especially in the back, not the front. So if you worked out as a full-time job, if you ate so much plain, unseasoned chicken that you wanted to throw up every single day, and then never drank water for a few days, provided that you have studio lighting and an army of underpaid stylists, makeup artists, and visual effect artists to keep out anything unsightly, you too could look like this for a few days, tops. And let's be real here, most of them are probably using God knows what steroids that are having God knows what effects on their bodies long term. Now, when one of them looks like me...
Are you joking right now? Fat Thor's still thinner than you, dude. Get a load of this guy. Thinks he looks like Chris Hemsworth. Infinity War, more like Infinity Weight, the Incredible Bulk. I need a third one. Fat Hawkeye.
That's a visual gag about how much his life is falling apart. The message you're meant to receive is that this guy is depressed. He's sad. His life has taken a dark turn, and he's no longer in control.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty reasonable portrayal, right? I mean, you're depressed and miserable, and you've lost control of your life. I mean, you can't even control your diet without going boo-hoo to YouTube. Oh, I'm so sad. Please give me money on Patreon.
After all, how could he be happy? How could he live a fulfilling life? How could anyone see this ridiculous sight and not laugh? He's a big slob. And all he's got to do is wiggle some ropes. Just wiggle some ropes. And that'll get you back to a beefy bod. It's easy. It's simple. That's all you got to do is wiggle the ropes. And that's weird, right? Because according to statistics from the Center for Disease Control, 41% of American adults surveyed in 2017 were considered obese. Nearly half of people. The percentage of people who look like Chris Hemsworth is just whatever percentage of the population Chris Hemsworth is personally. So nearly half of the people in the country this movie was made in look more like Fat Thor than Beef Thor. But still, upon seeing this, those same people are meant to view the guy who looks like them as absurd, disgusting, and laughable, a visual representation of failure and depression.
I see what you're saying. You're saying that must be how people think about you.
Being fat is very stigmatized. People are openly allowed, often encouraged, to discriminate against fat people. Many people view explicit discrimination against fat people itself as a helpful, necessary act. That in order to combat the obesity epidemic, I'm making that face because those are clown words that clowns say, we need to create a sort of social stigma against being too fat, to shame people into getting the good habits that make you a thinno. Don't know why that's the preferred solution over, say, regulating food additives, giving people subsidies to buy fresh produce, funding free public exercise activities or nutrition education. But yeah, okay, maybe, yeah, sure, the insults will do it. Maybe if we hurt someone's feelings the right way, then they'll change their bodies. And there are, as far as I can tell, 4 small problems with this approach. Firstly, this introduces a lot of health issues itself. It's one of the primary factors influencing disordered eating, things like anorexia, bulimia, binge eating disorder, or whatever keto is. It leads to depression, anxiety, shame, self-hatred, all of which will compound and exacerbate the alleged health problems associated with being fat. Being stressed and miserable all the time, not good for your heart, believe it or not. All of this is made worse by the fact that the same stigma has a demonstrable effect on healthcare given to fat people. Fat people's health problems are often just chalked up to fat stuff and written off, which could prevent fat people from receiving life-saving care. So no, I don't think you can make the argument that fat shaming makes people healthier, especially because Reason number 2, if the intent here is to make people lose weight, it don't fucking work. Like straight up, it has the exact opposite effect. It makes people gain weight. This has been established, well established. There's links to studies in the description. But okay, sure, maybe we haven't found the right insults yet. Maybe the ones that hurt people correctly, that'll have the intended effect and people will lose weight. So they'll be healthier and it's all worth it. Except reason number 3, fat and unhealthy are not the same thing. Hey, let's stop here for a second. This is a difficult message for a lot of people to comprehend. A lot of people will assume what I am about to say is just wishful thinking. It isn't. I am not going to make the argument that there are no health risks associated with being fat. Of course there are. I really need you to hear what I am about to say because I am saying something very specific and not making broad generalizations from which we can make blanket statements. I mean the words I am about to say, and I only mean the words I am about to say. There is a correlation between being fat and heart disease. That much is established. There is a correlation between being fat and being at risk for type 2 diabetes. No doubt about it. There's a correlation between being fat and having poor cardiovascular health. These facts are indisputable. It would be moon logic to ignore them. They are based on mountains of data on all of these topics. But, because like me, there's a big fat but to this. That does not mean that being fat makes you have those problems. Thin people can still get type 2 diabetes. They can still get heart disease. They can still have poor cardiovascular health. Fat people, conversely, can also not get type 2 diabetes. I don't have it. They can also not develop heart disease. And whether you choose to accept this or not, it is a well-established fact at this point that they can still have or develop excellent cardiovascular health without losing weight. So, okay, you might say at this point, you could make the same argument about smoking. Not all smokers are going to get lung cancer. Are you going to say smoking doesn't cause lung cancer? Are you? Are you going to say that now? Because I'm lighting up a cigarette as we speak, Thought Slime. Better talk me out of it, or I'll smoke one right now. And no, we know pretty conclusively that cigarettes are the direct cause of lung cancer, among many other health conditions. Cutting out cigarettes itself reduces your risk of developing those conditions. And here's the thing that I think people are going to try and take out of context, and I really need you to listen closely to my wording here. There actually isn't a lot of evidence to suggest that being fat itself causes these health issues. If you change risky dietary habits and add exercise, people tend to be at less risk for these health complications, regardless of whether or not they actually lose weight. It may be that rather than fatness causing health problems, being fat and the health problems that fat people often face may instead share similar conditions. Furthermore, many health problems associated with being fat can make weight loss specifically more difficult. Depression, for example, will make exercise and eating foods that are time-consuming to prepare and much less stimulating to eat, let's be honest, far more difficult. If you have diabetes, it's a lot harder to just drastically reduce your sugar intake without fucking fainting. If you have heart disease, you got to be pretty careful about the cardiovascular exercises you're doing. I'll give you a concrete example from my personal experience. I'm a little tubby boy, and I've got sleep apnea. Essentially, that means that in my sleep, occasionally I stop breathing, and that wakes me up, and then I just basically can never get good sleep, ever. This is caused by some defect or other in my nose or mouth that makes my airway get obstructed. But the fatter I get, the more weight accumulates in my neck zone, ruining all of my selfies and making this obstruction worse. Sleep apnea can lead to heart disease, high blood pressure, and there was another thing, I forget what it was. I'll edit it in post. There's one really effective treatment for sleep apnea, a machine called a CPAP, or continuous positive airway pressure, that blows air into your nose or mouth or whatever to maintain a positive pressure which stops your airway from closing, and it costs about $2,000. And it's not covered by Medicare. Pretty cool! As a result, most doctors will just tell you, hey bud, why don't you try losing some weight? That's going to free up your neck area, and that might help. Try that, because otherwise you got to spend $2,000. Fair enough. Sure, losing weight would probably help. But sleep apnea makes that very difficult because it slows down your metabolism. You're not getting energy from sleep, so your body seeks out high energy foods, like, for example, a Snickers bar. Without restful sleep, it's more difficult to exercise because you're tired. And also that exercise won't have much of an effect because without restful sleep, your body won't be able to recover or build new muscle, which is the part where you actually lose the weight. The vicious irony here is that giving people the treatment is the only thing which makes the solution being proposed in lieu of that treatment even possible, because you can't willpower yourself into sleeping while you can't breathe. So we can see in cases like these, it would be a very bad idea to focus on someone's body shape rather than the root causes of these illnesses. You could, in theory, lose a bunch of weight, assume you're safe, while never addressing the root cause of your illness and leaving yourself at risk. Conversely, you could be denied effective treatment on the basis that you should simply lose weight, which may be complicated by the thing you're trying to lose the weight to deal with. It would be better, therefore, to encourage people to exercise more and to eat more whole, nutrient-rich food in general, rather than simply demanding that they lose weight. It's good advice for everyone, not just fatzos, but you thynoids, you still gotta exercise. You still have to experience the thrill, the passion, the erotic qualities of spinach, especially because fat shaming itself might cause some of those health issues. There's evidence to suggest that discrimination and stigma puts people at increased risk of heart disease and certain forms of cancer or high blood pressure. Part of the reason for the correlation between being fat and these health conditions, therefore, might actually be a result of that stigma, rather than simply a natural result of being fat. It's not necessarily either or, mind you, and more research still needs to be done, but still, food for thought.
Well, what do you know? He likes all kinds of food.
And the fourth reason that I think fat shaming is a bad idea is why you gotta be a dick? Like, why are you looking for reasons to be mean to people? Why are you trying to justify it? Why not just stop? Like, I feel like I shouldn't have to explain this to adults. It is generally preferable to be kind rather than cruel? Like, do you find that you can solve a lot of problems for people by insulting them? Probably not. Fucking obviously.
Come on, dude. You don't believe any of this shit. I mean, the lengths you will go to just not to eat a fucking salad. Bruh, he eats salads like every day. I hardly think a bunch of mixed greens, vegetables, and beans could be considered a salad. What the fuck are you talking about? What would be a salad in your mind? And I mean, you can't fool me. You're putting a healthy portion of plant-based mayo on there, bud. Like a tablespoon, that's a salad dressing. I mean, for God's sake, mayonnaise on a salad. You're a fucking disaster. Have you never heard of salad dressing? I'm losing my mind. Even the foods he eats are metaphors for banality, oafishness, and hapless privilege. Look at you, feeling sorry for yourself. Oh, what? Oh, are you doing fat acceptance activism now? Is that what you're doing? Hey, remember how you were going to do a bunch of research for this video, but then you didn't because you got too sad. So instead, you just played video games a bunch? You just wasted a bunch of time playing video games? And folks, I can't make this up. The video game he was playing, literally, was called Don't Starve. Like he's in any danger of that. Hey, remember how you were gonna read Fear of a Black Body, but then you didn't? Remember how you were gonna get just like an ounce of perspective on the intersection of race and gender on this issue, but you fucking didn't? But then you'll put this in the video so that everybody knows how bad you feel about it, so you can get to feel like a big ally. Because it's all about you, isn't it? Remember in the beginning when he talked about how he was exercising so hard? Yeah, he's already stopped. Hasn't been on that treadmill in weeks because making this video made him too sad. Matt, you can pull whatever spin you want on these rubes. You're not going to fool me. This is vanity, pure and simple. You're feeding your ego because that's all you do is feed. You're a parasite. Stop being weak. Can you? Can you even? Can you develop any strength, physical or strength of character? At all? Ever?
So, I know that there's nothing wrong with being fat. I know I'd be happier, healthier, and probably live longer if I just accepted myself for who I am.
Hey,
I can't do it.
I think you should look. I think you might have crushed the other guy.
I am repulsed by my body, and nothing I can do will ever let me escape my body, except dying, I guess, but I don't really want to do that. It's like wearing a suit made of shit everywhere you go.
I don't mean to interrupt. This is not a fat joke. I'm genuinely concerned that you might have crushed the other guy.
Basically, I just can't face it. I can't face the fact that I look like this. I guess you could say I have pretty bad body dysmorphia. I mean, I think I see my body accurately, or maybe even think it looks better than it actually does, but I obsess over how important my looks are, how everyone must be as disgusted by me as I am by myself.
I don't think it's technically dysmorphia if you're actually ugly.
Got candy and you're not ugly.
Oh, good. He's okay. He's okay. That's a relief. Anyway, Matt, you're an ugly freak and everybody talks about it when you're not around.
Hey, real talk here. There's a part of me that thinks if I don't look good, I'll never stick around doing this. Like, if I'm not hot, people aren't going to watch my videos, which is pretty ridiculous, I suppose, because I'm already not hot and people are watching them now. And I guess I could do other things. I could dress better. I could take better care of my skin, but I don't want to do any of it because it all involves looking at myself and assessing myself. And when I look at my face, all I see is a middle-aged man, a tired, chubby, balding, utterly hapless cargo shorts wearing, Reddit-ass man with my permanent 5 o'clock shadow and big gorilla-ass features. Body dysmorphia really accentuates gender dysmorphia until it just becomes too painful to remember that I look like anything at all.
Wow. Wow. This guy's got some pretty fucked up ideas about women. I mean, doesn't that kind of buy into some pretty patriarchal beauty standards? I mean, he's essentially saying that because he's fat, he's automatically more masculine. So what, women are supposed to be thin? Didn't realize he had such high standards for women's bodies. Cancel him. Cancel him now.
When I look at myself, I don't see a person that could be loved.
Wow. Look at this guy. He thinks fat people don't deserve love. Cancel him. Cancel him now.
I don't hold other people to these standards. I don't dwell on other people's appearance. I'm not that shallow. But I can't let it go from me. I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stand it. I feel trapped, unable to change my reality, but unable to accept my reality. Each day I look a little worse, and each day it hurts more to think about.
Yeah. I mean, you're pretty disgusting. You're like a slug. You're like a fucked up little slug guy. No. Because when I put it like that, it sounds kind of endearing. I don't mean it like that. I mean it in a bad way. Like, you're always wet. Not just because you're sweaty, which is disgusting in and of itself, but like, just, you have a wet disposition. I don't know what it is. Oh, is that why you call yourself Thought Slime? I just got that. Anyway, my point is, nobody should have to feel bad about their appearance, but I do think you should have to feel bad about yours a little bit. Because, like, you're like Graham Linehan levels ugly, and at least he has the excuse.
Hey, man, you want to shut the fuck up?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
You can absolutely shut the fuck up. I'm just trying to help.
Well, you're not. You're not helping. This isn't helping.
Unbelievable. All I do for you. I try to tell you the hard truths that everyone else is too polite to tell you. And God knows if you heard it from any of them, you'd lose your fucking mind. And all you do is act like I'm the asshole. You're the problem. I'm keeping you ready for a hard, mean world. I don't care if the world is mean. I don't care if people are shitty to me. As long as he's around, what the fuck do I have to fear from anyone else? I'm already saying the worst shit imaginable to myself. We're getting a little heated here. Let's calm down. No, fuck you. What the fuck do you ever do for me? You don't shut him up. He needs to hear this, Mr. Hard Truths. Hey, you want to hear a hard truth? All you do is fuck me up. That's because you don't listen to me. Yeah, I wish, pal. I wish I didn't listen to you. Because all I do is listen to you, and where the fuck has it ever gotten me? Just sick and miserable, afraid of all my loved ones, lonely, depressed, exhausted. If you really want to help, just shut up.
Shut up and stop criticizing.
Well, someone has to.
Well, it doesn't have to be you, though, does it? Maybe I could handle real criticism from real people if I weren't afraid all of the time that it would prove all of the nasty shit you're saying about me right.
Fair enough. Sorry. I don't want you to get hurt.
Thank you. Thank you for that service. You are relieved of your duties. Hey, if we're talking hard truths, here are some hard truths for you, the audience. Want to know why you, statistically, probably feel pretty bad about your appearance? Because people make a lot of money making absolutely certain that you do. They make you feel ugly, creating a problem that they can then sell you a solution to. Follow this diet regimen, buy this anti-aging cream, click here to read about the 5 trending haircuts this summer, and the one you don't want to be caught dead with. And of course, if it makes you miserable and self-loathing, they can monetize that too. Because if you're feeling bad that you look like Fat Thor, you can get jacked like Beef Thor. Just buy our magazine. It outlines his secret muscle-building workout. Then, when you get bummed that you can't look like a multimillionaire whose full-time job it is to be jacked, you can buy Doritos with Thor on them. Want to know why people are getting fat these days? You think it's some failure of personal responsibility? People just woke up one day irresponsible out of nowhere. Or maybe it has more to do with the fact that we're all crammed into small little spaces where nobody can walk anywhere, and all of the food we eat is designed to be shelf-stable and cheap. And since food that's been processed to be shelf-stable tastes like absolute dog shit, they have to cram it full of as much fat, salt, and sugar as they possibly can to keep you eating it. And what are you gonna buy? The fresh spinach that's expensive as shit, itself only one part of a constituent meal that you have to prepare and eat quickly or it'll rot, or the cheap pizza rolls you can toss in the microwave? Which is the responsible choice when you're working long hours and have to take care of a family? How much time and money do you have left over at the end of a week for garden fresh salads? Oh, people are so sedentary these days. Well, maybe we'd exercise more if we had a little time to ourselves. Maybe if we didn't all feel like we were dying all of the goddamn time, maybe we could go outside and run around a little. Maybe if we didn't put all of our energy into paying the bills which keep getting more expensive while our paychecks stay the same, we'd have some time left over in the day for pickup basketball. Maybe exercise would be a little better for us if we weren't stressed. Of course, we should be stressed though, right? We should be stressed because our bodies are so unhealthy, and it's a moral failing to be unhealthy. And the majority of people might look like you, but somehow we are expected to believe that this is all our fault, that it's all something we can change as individuals. But no, being fat has to be bad because it's really profitable for it to be bad. You can't sell a diet or a fitness routine or a supplement or whatever the fuck keto is if people feel good about their bodies. Never mind the abysmal statistics on whether any of these interventions actually work. If they worked, they can only sell them to you once. If they fail, then they can sell you the next one, provided, of course, that you still feel like shit about yourself. And it's your individual faults, because otherwise, maybe we'd all get together and do something about the ways that we're being taken advantage of, the ways our food is being adulterated to squeeze out every ounce of profit with no thought paid to how it might hurt the people eating it. The intrusion into our education system, governments, and scientific communities, not to mention the constant barrage of advertisements by bad actors looking to manufacture consent to keep us complacent with the negligent, dangerous practices of the food industry that line their pockets. Not to mention the atomized, hyper-individualistic, capitalist seizure of all public space, changing us all from citizens to consumers. Consumers who are given no avenue to exist in public other than to consume, being made to feel like we're failures for consuming too much. And who could blame us? We can't afford to retire, we can't afford to raise families, we can't afford to go on vacations or spend time with our loved ones. But a bag of Oreos? That's pretty cheap. You can eat a bag of Oreos while working, or between work and collapsing from exhaustion. Well, just enjoy them in moderation. Just eat the recommended serving size. Meanwhile, they spend billions on chemists, bioengineers, and focus groups to carefully craft their food so it never quite satisfies you, so that you always want a little more, so that your brain won't let you stop eating it. Like a drug, but one that everybody needs to take to live. Because you'll die without sugar, you'll die without salt, without fat, and that's why your brain is always screaming at you to eat those things. But if you get hooked, of course, it's your fault. You're weak. And the truly sick part of it all is that it doesn't matter why our bodies look the way they do. It wouldn't matter if it were our individual faults, because there's nothing wrong with us. There's nothing wrong with our bodies. You can be healthy without being thin, but you can't be healthy feeling bad about being fat. They treat us like we're lazy and self-indulgent, but what's lazy is to jump to conclusions without looking at the research. What's self-indulgent is to pat yourself on the back and assume people who don't look like you are wrong and deserve ridicule and scorn. This asshole on my shoulder? He's on yours too. You can't get rid of him. He'll always be there, but you don't have to listen to him. You don't have to let him tell you how to feel about yourself. You want to live in a kinder world? A world where people are kinder to you and you, in turn, are kinder to others? That starts within. Be kind to yourself. Learn to treat yourself with the respect and kindness that you want from others so that you won't be training yourself to accept their disrespect and unkindness. And whenever that little voice in the back of your mind rears its ugly little head and tries to tear you down, remember who that voice works for, because it's not you. It's the creeps who want to sell you shit and need you to feel like shit because otherwise you'd recognize that everything they have is not worth buying. There is nothing wrong with your body. Your body is beautiful, if for no other reason than because it is the mechanism that allows you to exist in the world. It's not your moral responsibility to be healthy, but being healthy is a nice thing you can do for yourself. And no matter what any small-minded, spiteful, ignorant shithead tries to convince you of, you can be healthy at any size.
Fuck this. Fuck this. Let's just go to the fucking eyeball zone.
Hello and welcome to the eyeball zone. Here in the eyeball zone, we're very fat positive because fat people are round and that makes them more like eyeballs. Also, we put eyeballs on small content creators who need them on their work. The other thing. In a response to Matt Walsh's documentary, What is a Woman? GrodyNodi, you get it, right? Do I need to explain what the video's about? I feel like the title is pretty clear. That's not the type of thing you're interested in? I highly doubt it. Just go watch it. What do you want from me? Sometimes it's clear what it is. Okay? I don't gotta describe it. But one question for you though is, do you have a small leftist project you'd like to see featured here on the Eyeball Zone? Send no more than one email. The ThoughtSlimeEditor@gmail.com with pertinent details, such as your pronouns, and perhaps you shall find yourself trapped here. In the Eyeball Zone.